morning, sports fans from all around the globe. I am your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your breakfast bankroll for Saturday, December 18th, 2021. Just 7 days till Christmas, 13 days till 2022. An action-packed day with a kickoff at 11 a.m., so 36 minutes before App State in Western Kentucky kick off the Boca Raton Bowl, which our co-host is in the same state. Maybe he can give us a weather report there. Bowl games, Pats at Colts, boatload of college games, a boatload of cancellations, a boatload of postponements and movements. A lot of shit going on right now. A lot of stuff going on. Is everyone running to get ready for Christmas and getting those last minute gifts, Christmas parties, yada, yada, yada. Without further ado, I'm going to bring my co-host on, and I'm going to give a quick State of the Union to the ECSI VIP family. But without further ado, let me bring in my co-host from the Palm Tree State himself, the one, the only, the myth, the legend, Mr. Scott E. Webb. Scotty, my brother, what is happening?
Jeff, you're looking a little bit chilly up there.
Well, rain, sleet, snow. We are doing the show live here. It's 10:25 on Cape Cod. At 5 o'clock, UConn hosts Providence in the Big East opener at Hartford. Of course, it's at Hartford, right? So the game plan all along was to head up to Stores, grab my daughter, and then drive the extra half hour up to Hartford, get lunch, and the tip-off's at 5, enjoy the game, and then head back home. Well, Mother Nature is throwing us a little curveball. I just got the update up there. It's not sticking, but there was an initial potential of 3 to 5 inches. It just creates a 3-hour trip up and a 3-hour trip back. I've done the trip back when it stuck on the highway, and it created a 5.5-hour trip. And so, but I wanted to address to everyone that's listening and watching here, because on January 1st, 2022, ECSI will start its 7th year. It's our 7-year anniversary on these pages. Public service, our names, faces, logos, nothing's changed. And in this business, where there's so many people on social media that have changed their names 1,000 times, that have that don't post their record, they only show you the wins, the losses. I think it's a good time to start, so I could just vent for a few seconds. We're in a 2-week miserable drought. The only blessings that we've had in this last 2 weeks, to be honest with you, is we popped the 6-1 parlay 2 Sundays ago, and 2 nights ago we went 2-1. We just can't get any traction, and you know, it's anything that could happen negatively has happened. I usually don't watch a lot of the games. I follow them on the monitors, my phone, whatever. And last night was a perfect example. We had James Madison +5 against North Dakota State. And I turn it on as it's 1st and goal for James Madison on the 9 with 3 minutes to go. They throw a fade to the left, and they just didn't get his toe down. Okay, just missed it. They try a quick slant for 5 yards on 2nd down. So they got, actually it was 3rd and 5 from the 6. And they put pressure on the quarterback, and he heaves it up into the right corner. They have a big mismatch in size. And the defender makes an OBJ one-handed interception. Okay. So then they got 1 timeout left. They hold him to a 3-and-out, and they get the ball with 40 seconds left. They get a 1st down, and then they falter. So the point that I would like to stress here is this. I know the phrase shooters shoot. I get that part. But for us, we really keep that mentality of a strict bankroll. We never double up, triple up. We never force the issue. So it's hard when you can't gain that traction, Scotty, to just wake up in the morning and see a board like this. And then, this damn App State Western Kentucky game has gotten us twice this year. So the mentality is, well, they ain't getting us the third time. So play App State minus 138 in the money line and let's start the day with the win. Well, it doesn't work that way. So I just wanted to get that off my chest. Everyone listening here is listen, when you're struggling, that doesn't mean you up the ante. Because if you lose 3 in a row and you say, well, I'm not going to lose 4, 5, and 6 in a row, well, shit, yeah, you can. And it's when you stop pressing, it's really when it gets ugly. So the fact that we are about to start our 7th year shows something here. So I just wanted to get that off my chest. And I want to welcome you to the show, my friend.
Well, I appreciate coming into that segment there. So you made a comment and said shoot or shoot, right? So there's a difference, though, between shoot or shoot and shoot or shoot irresponsibly. I mean, there's a difference. Or shoot or shoot and then shoot or shoot at anything. Or they're, the shoot or shoot things comes from a basketball term, right? And if you're going to go out there and you have a bad day, you shoot your way through it. I mean, that's kind of what happens. And then, first quarter they miss, the second quarter they miss, third quarter they miss, the fourth quarter they start hitting something. So that's why they say shoot or shoot. So, but what they're not doing, they're not chasing points. They just do what they're doing naturally. They shooters shoot. So that's what that really, really means. And when you're a gambler or an investor, like what we're trying to teach people to do, we don't want you to chase losses because that means you're betting irresponsibly. You need to be able to play normally, whether you're losing or winning. You shouldn't see it on my face, and you shouldn't see it on Jeff's face. And typically you don't. We mention it because, you might hear it or you might see it or you might, I don't know how many times, Jeff, I come on and give out plays or whatever, and I'm not here the next couple of days or whatever. I don't get a chance to go over recaps and tell you how good we did or how bad I did or what. I don't really get, but the truth of the matter is it doesn't matter. It matters to those of you who keep track of such things for the purpose of following people like me or Jeff. It doesn't matter to me or Jeff because it's just another day. And then you have the next day. And we might have 2 weeks, 3 weeks where we just shit the bed. But we're going to have one of those times, and this is where we separate from what everybody else does, that you're going to go 30-2. Most people can't do that ever, but we do those things. That's how we make our money. And we understand that typically you're going to be 50% of the bets. You just are. But when you go 30-2 and you have 2 of those streaks all season, you just made 28 units times 2, right? On those 2 streaks, there's 56 units that you just made. It's hard to lose 56 units back the way we play. So the point being is, and when we say that we've heard the term shoot or shoot, understand what it means. It means play normally. It means don't chase your bets. Don't go out and make stupid things. But certainly don't go out and go, okay, shit, I'm losing money, so I need to double up here and triple up here and quadruple up here to get the money back. That's not a winning formula, and that's not a formula that you go. I don't know if, how many times people have heard me on here, and I know Jeff's heard me say it all the time. It's not my job to predict when a team's going to go off of their winning streak or go off of their losing streak. Similarly, no matter what you try to do, and no matter how I try to go, we don't control that either. We don't control the winning streaks and the losing streaks. If we did, holy shit, I wouldn't be waiting until just this weekend. Hell, I'd make it sure it's every day. But we don't control that. And unfortunately, there's a lot of things that happen that create these losses. Sometimes you just get the damn game wrong. Sometimes you're on the right side, but you just lose. And then it gets so frustrating because you're on the right side and you lose so many times in a row. And it's just like, holy shit, I don't even watching these games no more. But that's where the mentality comes back to. Why do we do what we do? And is there an enjoyment of beating the man? That's what I always look at. I mean, I want the money out of it. Don't get me wrong, but I want the enjoyment of saying my number's better than that number, or my information was better than that information, and I won because goddamn I outthought everybody. That's what I want to do. And I don't sit here and bang my chest that way, but that's how I feel inside. And if you don't feel some way inside when you make a winning bet, you shouldn't be doing any of this stuff, because you got to have some kind of solace from the gratitude of that singular purpose of winning the bet. The bet is going to eventually pay you out, and if you win enough of them, you can have fun with the money that you win. But it shouldn't always be about the money. The money's the side part.
And there's so many people in these lanes that skew their numbers. There's a handful out there, with a daily 50, 75, 100 unit plays. And we could talk to a blue in the face about that. There's other people in these lanes that try to emulate what we do. For me, most of the time, every game's the same. It's 1 unit plays. A half dozen times a year, we'll step on the gas, which we call it. We'll do a unit and a half on a play, one that we really, really like. But I think it's unfair to the clientele in some of these guys that are highly touted, no pun intended, in these lanes where you're on a downswing, and then you just pull a 4 unit play out of your ass and it loses. You're asking your clientele when you're on a 2-7 cooler to then feel comfortable and stepping on the gas for a few 4 unit play, and it just makes no sense. It's playing catch up, trying to skew your numbers to make it look better. Hey, I know we're 2-7 the last 9, but I got this 4 unit play that can't miss. Yeah, okay. I got 2 bridges 30 minutes down the road too. Why don't you come take a look at them? Because they're for sale, and just some people just they're carrots. They're the sizzle. I always talk about: are you buying the sizzle or are you buying the steak? You want the substance, but how we're wired and the mentality is the sizzle is what grabs you. My dad always talked about it. When you walk into a restaurant and you smell the onion sauteing, that's where your nose comes in, and it's like, oh wow, that smells real good. And that's that sizzle that I'm talking about. And it's just comical. And I just wanted to start the show this way because I know we got a boatload of stuff and I want to get to the games. But I think people really need to understand the bottom line. The bottom line in all of this is you have to make the decision. You do. Okay. Are you in this stream of income? Are you in this to try to win, grin, and profit? Or at the end of the day, and the end of the week, and the end of the month, and the end of the year, it's just strictly entertainment. And I know a lot of people in their mind, hey, I get $200 a week for entertainment. So if they lose, it's my entertainment money, and when they win, So I just wanted to kind of sort of clear that air, Scotty.
Yeah, well, I mean, ultimately, some of this that we're talking about really comes down to bankroll management for the gambler, the investor themselves. And I wrote a lot about bankroll management, and maybe we should republish some of what I wrote. But I'm not one of those guys that's going to tell you how to bet. My thought is money management is all about your bankroll. But if you have a bankroll that you can auto replace at any time, then the truth of the matter is you're not gambling like most gamblers do. So that means you're gambling for fun. So I tell you, if you're gambling for fun, then goddamn go have fun. But if you're gambling like most people do, and most people go, I got $1,000, I'm going to put it in this account, and if I lose it, I can't replace it. So if you're in that spot, like most people are, then the reality is you have to guard that money that's in your funds, just like you're playing a poker tournament. Dude, your poker tournament, the only life that you have is your chip stack. So when you're out of your chip stack, you don't have a tournament no more. You're dead in the water. When you're playing cash games, you can just throw the money back in there anytime you want, right? So you can play loose, and that's how you play this game. That's what we do. It's the same thing here. If you have the ability to reload whatever it is your bankroll is, then play loose, have fun, have a good time. Knowing that you're going to win some and lose some, and you're going to have days where you can take some money out, and other days you got to put your bankroll back in there. But if you play like most people do, and then guard your bank account like it's a chip stack in a poker tournament, then you'll get a lot better, and you'll understand all the things we talk about when it comes to these things. And those guys that are online that are telling you to put 100 units on this and 50 units on that, realize this. They have learned that Jeff and I, or other people like Jeff and I, talk about units. So they're not gambling themselves because they don't got 100 units to put on a goddamn game. So don't believe any of that shit in the first place. But secondly, when they're doing these things, they've realized how to beat Scott and Jeff. They beat us because we may turn in a week where we got 5 units, or we got 6 units, or a great week we got 10 to 15 units, and then they turn in one day and they got 20. Well, they're playing a different game than you and I are, and they're sucking in the investor to the idea that, oh shit, I can win 20 units in one day, and I can only win 20 units in 1 week with Scott and Jeff. But listen, we got guys that gamble with us that play $1,000 a game, and if they're playing $1,000 a game and they win 10 units, they're pretty happy. Trust me, they're pretty happy people. So you go tell that guy that's out there trying to tell you that he's winning 20 units in a game and he can't even afford to bet, $50 on the game. And then he doesn't have guys that bet $1,000 on a game. He has guys that are betting $25 game wise. Okay. That's the difference in what Jeff and Scott do than what those guys do, right? Those guys are out there for the fun of the game of trying to beat the unit count, not trying to actually have true wagers, wins, losses, meaningful things. They're not betting the games. You can tell just by the way they talk, what the plays they come out, the reasoning behind some of their plays, and you can just tell. It's retarded. But anyway, all that being said, Jeff, today's Saturday. I started off by saying you look cold up there. I'm not cold. It's 85 degrees down here, brother. I think we're in the warmest part of the country right now. I am having a ball. It's like 70 degrees at night, 85, 86 during the day. Nice sunshiny day. You asked about the weather in Boca. My wife driving today over to her work Christmas party from Tampa over here where I am, and she's going to West Palm Beach, which is not very far away from Boca. It's more like 40 minutes just north of Boca. I can phone her, and I can tell you, she's not going to run into that snow problem that you're running into when you got to go up north a little bit farther. She's just driving right over there, going to have that Christmas party and drive right back tomorrow morning and do whatever. So, well, I guess it is what it is. I moved out of that weather, so I'm familiar with it. I just haven't been around it for a while.
Don't worry. Your Christmas gift is in the mail. It's being delivered by the reindeer themselves. Some nice snow and icicles that you haven't seen in a long time. Today's schedule, I'm just going to give everyone the quick eye test that are watching and listening. I'm going to give you what our eyes see quickly. When I say quickly, in other words, taking a look at the ticket count, then taking a look at the money. Is there reverse line movement? Is the games moving in the right direction? Yada, yada, yada. I did say when I started the show that the Vegas and Cleveland game has been moved to Monday.
Yeah, Monday. It's like Monday at 2 o'clock or some
Tuesday.
weird
Monday or
time.
Tuesday? Monday.
No, Monday. The other games in
Okay.
the
So
NFL are
actually,
moving Tuesday.
yeah, there's 2 games on Tuesday, and then they had the Monday night game, and there's additional one. But the eye test here, let's go quickly to the app Western Kentucky because it's going to be kicking off in exactly 17 minutes.
Did that number just change?
It did just drop in, and that's where I'm going to come in here. 54% of the bets, 64% of the money is coming in on the dog Western Kentucky. It opened up at 2.5. It has now dropped to 1.5 and is now 1 at DraftKings. So some late money. I don't want to say sharp. I don't want to say public squares. Late money is coming running to the window in on the hilltoppers of Western Kentucky. That's that one. There is some reverse line movement in UAB. That's a 3:30 kickoff. Rotation number 211, 212. UAB BYU in the Independence Bowl in Shreveport, Louisiana. 58% of the bets, 67% of the money coming in on BYU, excuse me. A number that opened at 8 that is down all the way to 6.5. It's at 7 at South Point, and our friends Chris and Jimmy Vaccaro. Nice reverse line movement coming in on UAB there. And the other, Eastern Michigan and Liberty, 67% of the bets, 70% of the money coming in on Eastern Michigan. Yet that line opened at 7.5 and is up to 9.5 and as high as 10 at DraftKings. So again, less bets, less money, all coming in on Liberty. Yet the line has jumped to 9.5. So reverse line movement coming in on Liberty. Oregon State, Utah State, 58% of the bets, 66% of the money coming in on Utah State, opened at 7.5. It has dropped to 7 at Circa and Westgate there. And at 9:15, the last bowl game of the night, Marshall against UL Lafayette, who we have talked about at length here this year, opened at 4.5, is now a flat 4. All the tickets, all the money, 53% of the tickets, 80% of the money coming in on Marshall, the Thundering Herd. Yet the line opened at 4.5 and is a flat 4. And I'll just jump to the NFL for you because I'm giving you your segues here. New England and Indianapolis. And I just want to clearly make this clear here. Okay. The Patriots did not open up at 2.5. Okay. That was kind of the behind the scenes number. By the time this went public to everyone to wager on, it was Indy -1. Okay. That was the number, or a pick 'em at best. That was the number that was presented to the world. Well, it is currently now Indy -2.5. So this has not been a 5-point swing. So anyone that says, oh my God, look at the swing on the Colts here, holy shit. No. The number was a pick 'em or Indy -1. Don't forget both teams coming off a bye. Big game for both sides. Really setting up the AFC for this weekend in the number 1 scene and the playoff structure. But again, enough from me. The board, the stage, everything is yours, Scotty. Take it away.
Well, let's just start with what might be the most pressing thing, because 11 o'clock that's kicked off is that game with Appalachian State, Western Kentucky. I'm just gonna tell everyone that I passed on that play. I think that I think in my mind the best thing to do when I wrote the book, Jeff, the total was 62.5, because that's what I listed it at in the book. And what is it now, 67.5 or something?
67 across the Vegas Strip, and 66 and a hook at WinBet, but 67 is the number. Yes.
So I came out with 37-30, 67 points, and in the book I said the models expect for a high scoring game. So I thought the over was the right play to go until you start looking at the over being gone. So you just pass and go to the next game. So I think the next game then flips me to the Fresno State UTEP game. And this one is where I did play. I played UTEP. I didn't play it until, I think yesterday, I think I played it. Anyway, the number was minus 12.5 for Fresno State. The number's down to what, 11, right? Or is it 10.5 now? That's
Uh,
11. Right?
11.5 at Circa, 12 at Westgate, 12 at South Point, and on the online shops, they're 11.5 right now.
So get it at your 12. I played UTEP. And let me make this just a little bigger so I can get my numbers out of this a little bit better. So here's the deal, right? Fresno State, they're really not a big offensive team. They're known for their defense. They rank 74th, which is middle of the pack. 130 teams, that's pretty close to the middle. It's actually a little lower than we're being right in the middle. But they throw the ball pretty well, can't run the ball at all. But UTEP plays great defense. They're 19th in the country on defense. They are 40th against the pass. So they're going to be able to get the stops that they're really looking for, even though the quality of competition isn't quite the same. UTEP's quarterback's not that great. But what UTEP can do is they mix it up pretty well. Their offense is ranked 44th. So when you start to think about this in terms of scoring, maybe you should think of it in a lower scoring game. But I think that number was 52 or 52.5. These are bowl games. People are playing loose. So I kind of like the idea that we're going to be in a pretty good spot here where my model said it's going to be like 7 points difference. I stretched it out to 10. So even though I stretched it out to 10, I'm still taking UTEP because I believe in their defense and their coach. And I like the idea that this team is going to be able to at least stay in the game because of their defense. And that keeps them pretty close to where it should be. My models came out 27-20 with the influence of the games. I looked at it more like 30-20. And I still think that's a good number. UTEP is going to be in the spot to cover here. So that was game one that I played. And you had mentioned the BYU and UAB game. And again, this is a game that I thought the over was really good. I saw 54.5 when I wrote the book. Now it is, I guess, 55. So it's not too far out of line. But I decided that there was other better plays than this game. Those of you who think UAB plays great defense, and that's what you know them for, just understand that UTSA, Louisiana Tech, Rice, Liberty, and Georgia, all teams they played, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all scored over 30 points against UAB. So BYU is a team that has not gotten as much recognition as they probably deserve to have gotten. They are the number 3 EPA offense going with a pass EPA of 15, rushing EPA ranked 13th. If I'm betting aside, I'm taking BYU in that game. But the one I did bet, and it steamed up a little bit. I bet on Liberty today. I got them winning by 14 points. I think the line is now 10, and it wasn't 10. When I wrote the book, it was 8.5. So I'm way okay with where they're at. And again, these damn MAC teams are making me mad and pulling out what little hair I have left. But I know what they do. They're terrible defenses with good offenses. And Liberty is a good offense with a good defense. And they played a much better schedule. They are a much better program. They run the ball pretty efficiently. They don't throw the ball very well. But that doesn't matter. They run the ball. They're the 3rd best EPA team rushing the ball. And Eastern Michigan is the 109th team against the run. So if you don't have a clear path to success there, I don't know what that's called. They're going to be right down the road going, hey, here we go. So give me Liberty in that game. And the only other game that, and I know this, well, I shouldn't say only other. I played 4 games. 1, 2, 3, 4. I played I played Utah State against Oregon State, and my number was 7.5, and I think it's 7 now, right? So I would I would still say take the 7 points. I think Utah State pulls an upside tonight and beats Oregon State, so I wouldn't mind sprinkling a little bit of money on the money line here. And the reason is I don't like Pac-12 in the bowl games. I don't think they match up very well except against Pac-12 teams. The Pac-12 is a throwing league, and their defenses that they are have on their own team don't play defense against the pass. So that's why everybody scores against them. So in this particular game, even though they have a decent edge at passing the football, Oregon State, Utah State plays good defense against the pass. So Oregon State's going to have to run the ball to have good success. Whereas Utah State is the 9th best passing offense, and they're going to face the 83rd worst defense. That keeps them in the game, and the Utah State quarterback, EPA-wise, is twice as good as the quarterback for Oregon State. Nobody's ever heard of him before. So I like the idea here that Utah State's going to be able to hang in the game. My model said 30-28, Oregon State's going to win the game. But based on the edges and the different things that happen, here's another good one. So common opponents. There was 2 common opponents, Washington State and Hawaii. So Oregon State, total points ahead of those 2 teams was 11. They lost by 7 to Washington State and won by 18 against Hawaii. And Utah State, they beat Washington State by 3, and they beat Hawaii by 23. So they didn't lose to any of those 2 teams. And then when it comes to the yardage gap, Oregon State was minus 24 against Washington State, plus 104 against Hawaii. And there's a big difference, right? The Pac-12 teams can't beat the crap out of these little schools. So then you look at what Utah State did. Utah State beat Washington State by 81 yards, and then they beat Hawaii by 204 yards. They're 3 times more yardage against these schools. So Utah State is, in my opinion, as good or a better chance to win this game, and certainly should be within a touchdown. So I like Utah State. And again, the last one, and Jeff, you're probably going to know who I sided with in this game. But UL Lafayette, right? I think that's a team that we've been saying all kinds of things about, and I've been ranting and raving about them a lot on these channels. They play Marshall today, and they're the favorite, I think, by 6 points or something like that, maybe 6.5 now. But what's good about this game, where you're looking at these teams, so University of Louisiana Lafayette, they lost their opener against Texas. That's the first game they lost. They haven't lost since then. That's the only game that they lost the whole season long. And that includes beating App State twice. And everybody's heard of App State, and everybody goes, oh, App State's the greatest team in the world, and there's small conferences and stuff. Well, this is a team that beat them. They allowed more than 30 points only one time, and that was to Texas. So when you start to think about how this works, Marshall has to score. For them to score, that's how they're going to have. Well, I shouldn't say score. Everybody knows you got to score. They got to score a lot to win because their defense isn't that good. So then you get to a point where you go, okay, well, how does this really work? And why does it kind of work the way that it does? So let's look at it this way. Marshall lost to East Carolina, App State, Middle Tennessee State, UAB, and Western Kentucky. They have beaten no one, not one team ranked higher than 90th in college football. So what does that tell you? It tells me that they lack a ton of substance, and they're getting ready to go against a team that is unbelievably crazy variance here. And when Marshall played App State, they lost by only 1 point. but don't let that fool you. They got outgained by 169 yards. And when Louisiana played App State, they beat them by 8 points, and then they beat them by 28 points. They beat them by 36 total points, outgained them by 352 yards. So here you go again. They're beating the crap out of common opponents, and I like the idea that Louisiana is just a better team. So just as a quick recap, I played 4 games. I played UTEP. I played Louisiana Lafayette. I played Utah State, and I played Liberty.
And I just want to tell all the listeners here that it's kind of crazy watching this board right now. Western Kentucky is now 1 point favorites at South Point, DraftKings, Caesars. So a game that was 2.5 App State as we
a half hour ago.
A half hour ago. So this is one of these games that I want everyone listening here just to keep and take a snapshot of this, because this is called late steam. Okay. So a lot of times people haven't had a week, 10 days to handicap this game. They wake up this morning and they grab their coffee and they go to the tote board and they say, holy shit, App State was minus 2.5. Now West Kentucky's a pick or -1, and they run to the window and they follow this late steam. And I'm telling you, sometimes it's right, but more often than not, it's wrong. So keep an eye on that one. So that'll be interesting there. Hopefully we gave everyone a nice rundown, at least to see what's going on today, because there's a lot going on today. Before we close up shop, Scott, just give everyone your initial thoughts on the Pats and the Colts today.
I think you can't not. I'm not going to do a double negative. So I think you have to bet on the New England Patriots today, instead of saying the way I was going to word it before. And the reason for this is when I run my numbers, I do them in 2 different segments in 2 different ways. In the NFL, not necessarily in college, but in the NFL for sure, because the quality of competition is similar over a length of time. And in the college, that they could play the Sisters of the Poor and then run up numbers. So the New England Patriots offense ranks 5th rushing and number 1 passing on EPA efficiency. And that is over since week 8. Or it's either week 7 or week 8. They're going to face the number. And I know that everybody says Indianapolis defense is all this. They're in the middle of the pack at best kind of a defense. But they rank 29th against the run. They rank 6th against the pass. So I do think that there's some avenues for success for the offense for the Patriots. But when you look at it from the other side, when you're talking about defense, New England's number 1 against the pass, number 11 against the rush. I know that Indianapolis is a rushing team, but Belichick has a way of making those things go away. And I'm sure he's going to sit there and strategize a plan that says, I'm going to make Carson Wentz beat me. If Carson Wentz can beat me, great. Carson Wentz beats me. And I got the number 1 passing defense right now in the NFL. So I like the idea that if Carson Wentz has to win this game, I'm going to take the opposite side, especially when you got a team that's rolling like what New England's doing. So I'm not going to get in front of that one and say, hey, this is the time that they're going to lose and all that stuff. I think that this is the time to continue to ride New England. And I think that Indianapolis, even though they got a lot to play for, so does New England. I think that this is one of those scenarios where, again, the quarterback for Indianapolis, even though he's been playing better, I think is the big question mark here. And can he actually go out and beat the New England Patriots? And I'm going to bet no. So I'm going to take New England.
Now, I just reading on our social media here, and this is going to be a funny story. Jacksonville fired, this is from Shefty an hour ago. Jacksonville fired its former head coach, Urban Meyer, for cause. with the intention of not paying him his remaining 4 years of the contracts. Sources tell Jeff Darlington and Shefty himself. So drama just follows this guy. It's going to be comical there. I don't think he deserves a red cent anyway. So what do I know? But with that said, today again, 40 minutes. The first 10, 15, whatever was kind of setting the stage here for everyone. Again, if you're not in this for a marathon, if you're not, we say day to day, week to week, month to month, year to year. That's what we're here, and that's what it's all about. If I always say sarcastically, the marathon approach, grinding. I was like, if you're struggling, go down to your local, athletic store and get a new pair of Nikes. Join the marathon. It's frustrating. I needed to say what I wanted to say because, listen, 7 years we're coming up on 7 years, thousands of games that we've released. Okay. So use the mentality of this. 51.9% is your break even point. Okay. 52 to 54%, you are considered sharp and an expert. Anything over 54%, and you're making bank. Okay. We were the start of this year at 56.9% for 6 years. Okay. So I think right now we're around 56.2% overall. So my point is, we're making bank, but you hit these type of slides. You have bad days, bad weeks. But you know what? I'm still here. Scott's still here. We're going to be here next year, the year after, and the year after that, So we always say we like to educate here with a little entertainment. We save the entertainment for ESPN and Fox. So that's why we're here. And that's why we get up every morning. We look at the board. Scott does what he does. I do what I do. And I just want to close with this. I talked about COVID at length. We talked about it in the beginning of the week. In college hoops today, let me just scroll up a little more. Tennessee, Memphis, canceled. Iona, Seton Hall, canceled. DePaul, Northwestern, canceled. North Carolina, UCLA, canceled. Central Florida, Florida State, canceled. Penn State, VCU, canceled. Cleveland State, Duke, canceled. Colorado State, Tulsa, canceled. Rider, Rutgers, postponed. Ohio State, Kentucky, canceled. COVID running rampant. As in the NFL, they had 3 games moved. So the point of the matter here, everyone, is do your part. If you're vaxxed, God bless you. If you're vaxxed and the booster, God bless you. If you don't believe in the vax, well, that's your choice, okay? This thing is not going anywhere. And, it's the holiday season. You're going to be around a lot of family, friends, and foes. You don't know what they're up to. I do know this. Last year at this time, myself, my wife, and my 2 kids got COVID. It wasn't pleasant. Trust me, it wasn't pleasant. Christmas and the holiday season. So I just want to take care of yourselves. Look in the mirror. Am I doing my part? Scotty, closing.
Well, it's a great day in Florida here. It's a Saturday. I'm a bachelor for the weekend, so I'm going to go try to find some trouble to get in, catch up on a little bit of rest, and I'm going to watch some college football today. I really wanted to watch more college football than I was able to watch yesterday. And what I did watch, Toledo drove me insane. Seemed like they'd hand the ball off to this kid that could run the ball, in which I knew what was that was their edge, right? They could run the football. They'd hand the ball to this kid. He'd run twice, get him out of where they were down at the 20-yard line, their own 20, get him out to like their own 40. Then they'd throw 2 passes incomplete, and then they have to throw on 3rd down, and they'd throw an incomplete pass, and then the other team would come back down and score. And I'm like, what the hell is this game plan all about? I don't get it. These guys are like driving me insane. But then again, I'm like, okay, it's college, whatever. They're over there celebrating, and and they're in Bahama, and they're like, jumping up and down and whatever. So good for them. And then it's bad for me because I liked Toledo in that game. And then the next game, I think we talked about it on here that I didn't think they were going to make a punt in that game. And I think the score was 47-41 or some shit like that. And that they just went right up and down the field. I think what I wrote in the book was something similar to that, but I did think that um, what the hell is the team? The name of that team? The team that
Coastal.
won. Coastal. I keep thinking the Cancelations. And I know that's like their nickname. And I kept thinking, well, what the hell's their real name? Coastal. I thought they would at least cover the spread because I thought that they would get a couple stops on Northern Illinois, and they did in the second half to turn it around in the fourth quarter, but not enough to cover the spread. But I did think that game was going to be one of those up and down the field. I'm just hoping that these college games are pretty entertaining. I don't want to see a 30-0, bowl game or whatever. So I'm hoping that they're fun because otherwise, why would you watch App State play Western Kentucky anyway? I mean, what the hell?
All right, everyone. Want to thank you guys. Can't do it without you. If you got a second, run over to our YouTube and Twitch page at East Coast Sports Investors. Subscribe, hit the like button, tell a friend. And as you see on the bottom of the page on our Twitter space at EC Sports Invest for myself, and it's Scotty is Webby20 MLB. Everyone wagering today, always wager with your head, not your heart. If you have a problem, pick up the phone. There's an 800 number there. Ask for help. Why? Because we care. We want to see you here at the end of the year. We want to see you here at 2022 and beyond. So for myself, Jeff Dawson, and my co-host, Scott Webb, we bless you today. Cash some tickets. Stay in your lane. Always wager and invest responsibly. And we will see you tomorrow.